wanted to do that more for myself than for anybody else. Good afternoon, folks. I am Sean in Alaska. This is the last scheduled live of the season. I might do some pop-up lives during the summer if I can pull it out, but for now, this is all we're going to have until October. I know it's a bit whited out here in the background, but if I don't actually have my camera facing in this direction, then what's happening with the sun will completely blast everything out. Let's see if I can maybe turn it and get it a little bit better that way. As the sun moves, which it does pretty quick here, we should clean stuff up. I should have done this before we got started. Let's see if I have an angle where you'll see the color back behind there or not. Oh, that's kind of better. All right, we can do that. I don't know if we want to just look at the truck, but let me move my chair. Ah, oh, there we go. At least there's some green in the background. What you saw behind me there is where the trailer used to be. So how I like to do these lives is I like to say hello to everybody. I'm trying to put my teacup down here so it doesn't fall over. I like to say hello to everybody in the chat. And if you've got a question, by all means, ask it. If I don't know the answer, maybe somebody here in the group chat will, which would be freaking awesome. And then if I miss answering your question, do me a favor and ask it a second time, but in all caps. And if I've already answered it by the time I get to it, I'll just skip over it. It's not a big deal. With that said, let's get everything started. Hello to, okay, Mouse, where you at here, Mouse? There we go. Brady G, how you doing, my friend? Good to see you. Matt in Alaska, what's happening? It's the final countdown. Now that song is going to be in my head all day long. Let me know right now too how the audio is, because I can kind of see how the video is. We'll scroll down here to the bottom and see how our audio is doing. Man, there's a lot of comments in here already. Holy smokes! So you guys pop a comment in there. Let me know how the audio is, because I am outside. And I want to make sure, Tina Bailey, how the heck are you? It is awesome to see you. I hope you are doing well. Just kind of waiting now to see if everybody's got, I know the video's working, but I want to see if the audio is doing its thing like it should be too. Audio and pick are great. Okay, thanks very much, PJs. All right, we'll scroll back up to the top here and pick up where we left off. And I'm going to try and catch up here. If we run a little bit longer today, we might do that. There's no telling. Way back up here. So, Jess, Rain Dance Bushcraft, good to see you, my friend. Awesome to have you here today. Christine Bursey, welcome. Glad you could be here today from Canada, it looks like. From Oslo, Norway. Morton, how are you today? Good to have you here. CB, how's it going, my friend? Good to see you today. Hopefully, the chickens aren't going to be too loud. Genova, happy Cinco de Mayo to you as well. Old School Alaska, how you doing today? Listen, I'm working on my mower. You're cutting grass and everything associated with it. Nice. PJ's Homestead, how are you? Navy Dave, what's happening, my friend? It's great to see you tuning in on a rainy day. I had rain when I was coming back from doing laundry this morning. That's why I was kind of concerned about whether or not I'd be able to do this outside. I really wanted this last one to be outside. Green Dude, how you doing? Happy Sunday. How does your garden grow? Not yet. It doesn't grow at all because there's still ice under the ground. We don't actually start planting on the Kenai Peninsula in the ground until basically June 1st. So I got this whole month left to get everything ready in the garden. And then after that, I'll be planting in it. Big Family Expedition, how are you doing today? Hope you're having a wonderful day as well. Frank, what's happening? Good to see you, my friend, from Northwest Florida. Pedro, how are you doing today? Thank you. I greatly appreciate that, man. From Portugal and Wales. Very cool. Very cool. My last name is actually, even though my family has history from Ireland, my last name is actually Welsh. So yeah, who'd have thunk it, right? Ginger Mast, glad you could make it today. Awesome to have you here. Everybody's saying hello to everybody else. Thanks, I appreciate it. I watch those intros, and it to me, I mean, it just brought back a lot of memories, right? Because, the red chickens that I have here were the first chickens I had on the property and the first chickens I've ever had in my life. And watching me build that stupid chicken coop was the first build of any kind other than the outhouse. I mean, with any structure where I tried to actually do it like a building that I've pretty much ever done in my life. So it was kind of neat watching that again. It was super cool. And it's neat too watching how things were starting out real slow in that first intro, and the second intro they really started to get busy, and then the third intro we've moved to the point where I live in a cabin now. Super awesome. Joseph, what's happening, my friend? It is great to see you today. It's currently 55 degrees in Philly with light rain, pot roast in the slow cooker, YouTube, and nothing to do. Life is good. I like that, man. I'm doing hot dogs for dinner tonight. I had them last night for dinner. I'm gonna do them again tonight. Lipstick Lodge, how are you doing? It is awesome to see you today. Excuse me. What's happening? Summer is upon me. Have an awesome time getting her done, clearing debris, new shed, driveway, and prepping. You didn't miss anything. Well, I don't know. I got a bunch. I always have way too much on my list, right? I always have way too many things I want to get done. But then they move to the top of the list the next year. Thank you for that very much, CB. It greatly helps if you guys hit the thumbs up, especially when I'm live, because then it suggests the channel to other people that may be cruising around YouTube looking for something to watch. They may not be subscribed, then they meet me, which is awesome. Sometimes. Follow Alaska, how are you doing today? It is great to see you. Mark Davidson, welcome, my friend. It is great to see you today. Steve G, what's happening? BLR, how are you doing today from Red Wing, Minnesota? Minnesota. Kristen Grounds, how you doing today? Happy Sunday to you. Happy Cinco de Mayo as well. Thank you very much, Big Family Expedition. It's been fun. It's pretty dirty right now. I'm glad I could do these outside because this time of year, so we have like the 4 seasons that I joke about all the time. We have basically green up, which we're getting ready to go into. And then after green up, we have brown up. And after brown up, we have freeze up. And after freeze up, we have break up. But there's like micro seasons in there too. And breakup starts and then mud season begins. So I'm in and out of the cabin with dirty shoes, and I've just got dirt all over the floor. I need to get in there, really sweep it up and clean it up. But yeah, we're just about out of mud season and into green up, which is super awesome. I have a lot of down branches too, right behind me, as a matter of fact. Here, let's pull this off real quick because I can kind of give you guys a quick glance around things here. So campfire hasn't moved, right? That's where the campfire's been, and that's where the wood pile's basically been. It was back maybe a foot more, but that's where the trailer was, and that is all gone. And there are a ton of trees gone out of the inside of that as well. Here, let me minimize that real quick so you guys can get a look. And look at the sky; it's gorgeous today. It turned out pretty nice. But yeah, this is where this is all the debris that I really wanted to burn this weekend, but I couldn't do so because we had lots of wind on Friday and Saturday, and I didn't want to risk it. There's the chickens. Ladies, say hello. They want nothing to do with this. There's the project I'm kind of working on right now with poles for the fence for the garden. And we'll spin this back around again. Get up there. Oh, and I'm wearing the kilt. Mike McKinley, welcome, my friend. Great to see you today. How we doing, my friend? It is great to see you. I never know what to say for your name. I always get it wrong when I try to say something for your name. So I guess we're just going to call you Alfred. That's about as close as I can get. All right, what do we got going on here? There we go. Destiny Fitzgerald, glad you can make it. Driving and listening. Awesome to have you here today. Everybody saying hello to everybody else. So the reason why this is the last live of the season is twofold. The first of which is that I operate everything as far as lives go via a hotspot on my cell phone. And we are the Kenai Peninsula where I live is a huge destination for tourism and for Alaskans during the summer. So as the rivers come up and the fish start entering the rivers, we get a ton of folks down here, and it just overtaxes the cell phone towers down here. So then my signal is not really strong enough to have a quality live stream. That's the first reason. And the second reason, probably even more important now because they're updating the cell towers all the time, we're getting more and more, is that this is like my busiest time of the year to get anything done. If I don't get it done this time of the year, I'm not going to get it done until next year. So first is because the signal gets really, really bad. And then also because I'm so busy doing all kinds of stuff and working every spare minute that I have outside. So that's the reasons for the last scheduled live. Generally, I go live from October through this time of year, May. Looking at comments over here. Oh, he did. I talked to him. Yeah, Jim. He had a good night in the camper. Matter of fact, if you're in the live, Jim, tell us how it's going on your property, man. Sandollar, welcome. Awesome to see you today. I'm doing great, Mike. I hope you're doing well in Ontario, Canada. You don't mind looking at white pickups? As the sun moves around, we're getting kind of some overcast too. I'll move it back around. I'll kind of spin. We'll kind of move with the sun today. How's that sound? Actually, I could probably move it back now because the sun's in clouds, so you can actually see the trees. And that is actually a pile of just dead limbs and branches and trees and stuff as well. Matthew, welcome. Glad you can make it here today. Oh man, don't just hope, do it. Just do it. That's what I did. I finally just said, you know what? I'm going to do this. And my family was laughing at me. My kids knew I was serious, but my brothers were all, idiot, you can't build anything. There's no way you're going to do this. And now they're like, holy smokes, you did it. And to me, it's more important that I did it for myself than any other reason. Dusty Bottom Boys, welcome. Good to see you today. Joe Montano, welcome, my friend. It is great to see you today. Everybody saying the audio good. Peanut Trucker, welcome. Everybody got the audio in there. Southern Blessed Homestead, how are you guys doing today? It's awesome to see you. Yeah, the girls are making themselves known, aren't they? I woke up this morning and I had a picture on one of the lives a couple of weeks ago where they were all sitting on that tree. And I woke up this morning and came outside and guess what? They were all back on that tree again, which is super nice. So that tells me when I move the coop back and I set up a new run for them, I need to make sure I have something like that in there so they'll have something to roost on. Man on the street, Al, what's happening, my friend? Great to see you today. Trying to scroll down and catch up here. I'm not. I'm making hot dogs. Making hot dogs and drinking beer. That'll be my Cinco de Mayo. But it's brown ale from Kenai River Brewing Company. Sandra, how are you today? It's awesome to see you in Queensland, Australia. Very cool. Sean, how much is your property tax now that you have a cabin on your land? Was it a lot more than just having the camper on the property? So the nice thing about where I live in Alaska is I didn't need any permits to build. And because I didn't get any permits to build, they really don't know that I built. So what they did catch was, and my property taxes have gone up. I'll have to look at them again. I forget what it was, but it was like $239 before anything was adjusted. Before any buildings on here. And then I put the driveway in, and I had the trailer on here. So I think now it's like $500. But I haven't advertised the fact that I built a cabin here. So I didn't go tell them that I've got a house here. It'll go up a great deal then. It's not bad. I mean, it's compared to California, property taxes here are very cheap. And the neat thing is that I turn 62 next week. So when I turn 65, I can write off the first $250,000, 250,000, I think is what it is, in value of my property. So I will pay zero property tax from that point forward. So, of my primary residence, if I buy a secondary piece of land and start building on that, it will all depend on the borough. We don't have counties here, we have boroughs, on the borough that I'm in, because each borough has its own rules for property tax. So I couldn't tell you right off the top of my head. I should probably take a look at it because it's going to be due here. And the first payment might actually be due now. But I just have to pay the whole thing by October. So it's not that expensive. It's super cheap. And like I said, I didn't advertise the fact that I have a cabin here now. So once they figure out I've got the cabin on here, it's going to go up a great deal more. P&J's Homestead want to know how many eggs I'm getting a day now. I have 14 hens now. I'm down to 14. And I'm getting anywhere from 12 to 14 a day. So every chicken's pretty much doing their duty every day. And they've been paying for their feed on a regular basis now for the last month. So I haven't had to put any money into the chickens at all. They pay for their own feed. They're actually building up a nice little bank account. But I'm really thinking, because I got inundated with eggs about a week and a half ago. I had like 18 packs. And I sell them cheaper than most folks do up here because my goal is to just pay for their feed. But I've had so many people interested in getting eggs from me that I might increase the flock next year. And more than likely, I will. I'll probably go with another dozen birds in the flock next year, and then we'll see if we can't grow the flock and make it something that will pay enough to carry them with feed through the whole winter. All right. Oh, you're having enchiladas tonight? I love enchiladas. I go to a Mexican restaurant. I order cheese enchiladas every time. That's what I order every time. Good to see you as well, Steve. Again, if you have a comment and I miss it, leave it again in caps because I'm trying to scroll through pretty quick to say hi to everybody. Hello, Lisa K. How are you doing today? Montana Homestead, how are you doing today? It is awesome to see you. We've got an airplane flying over. You might see him pop through the trees over here in a second. Where'd he go? Oh, I got a bald eagle way up there too. Nice. Built on the Rock Homestead, how are you doing today? It's great to see you. Oh, maybe get a little bit closer now. Genova, I said hello to you. Thank you very much for that thumbs up suggestion. Greatly appreciated. Outside dodging rain and thunderstorms today. That's crazy. Yeah, my daughter, I sent him from California. I've never made a secret about that. I'm from the central Sierra Nevadas, just north of Yosemite National Park. And my daughter still lives in the town of Tuolumne. And she sent me a picture yesterday, a little video. It was snowing in California yesterday. And then another friend of mine that lives up the mountain from her in the community of Twain Harte had 4 inches of snow on his deck. Nuts. We've had nothing, just rain. My Alaska, welcome. Great to see you, Bill. Sean Alaska, your chickens are almost in sync with mine. Nice. The Wickershire Project, welcome. Great to see you today. It's been really productive. It's been crazy productive. For the last 4 or 5 days, it's been nuts. But 'tis the season, right? It's the time of the year when you're getting everything done. Everybody's saying hello. Everybody's saying hello. Again, if I miss you, I'm really scrolling through now to try and catch up. To get ourselves to a point where I can say hello to the chat. Right? You need to get outside and get some stuff done today. Summer's almost gone. I made a joke that we had, like last week, we had a whole week of just blue skies and gorgeous. And we hit 60 degrees here. We hit the mid 50s, which was the warmest we've had in a while. And then we went over 60 degrees. And then we started this week with like overcast clouds and rain. And I've been joking around, oh, summer's over. I noticed that Russell at Raspberry Rock Off Grid hasn't posted or done a live in about a month. Is everything okay with him? Yeah, he was on Jess's live at Rain Dance Bushcraft on Tuesday night, and Jess could probably fill more in, but I think he was on vacation. I think he was out of country. I think him and City Girl took a long, nice little break, which is awesome for them because he was in high spirits when I saw him on Jess's live. Russell goes back and forth with lives. He'll do a bunch of them, and then he'll stop for a while. And then he'll be regular like clockwork again, and then he'll stop for a while. But this time, I think it was just that he was out of town and enjoying life, which we all need to do more of. I was kind of worried, too, until I saw him. Matt says it's snowing here today in Utah in May. That's crazy. Speaking of which, the man with the trailer, I'm blowing that word up right now. Helical Piers are in, plus an update inside the camper. Get me some pics or a short video for you to post. Very cool. Right on. I greatly appreciate it, Jim. So Jim is the guy that we were talking about earlier. He's the one that got the trailer, and he's the one who spent his first night on this property, and he's building right now. That is super cool. I'll swing by this week, Jim, and pop in and check it out and say hi. Right? Brown ale for the win. I love a good brown ale. This is, and they call it a nut brown ale here at Kenai River Brewing Company. And that is like my favorite. It's a local brewery, and I'm going to always buy local if I can. And I just love the people there. They're super nice. JD, what's up, my friend? It is great to see you. Awesome that you could pop in today, man. Henry Leslie, Vermont, welcome, my friend. It is good to see you today as well. We might run a little longer. Depends. We got a lot of people in here. I might share the link out and let some folks pop up if they want. Missing anybody? I don't think I've missed anybody yet. And we got a lot of new people in the chat, which is super awesome. Built on the Rock Homestead, I hatched 13 chicks back in late February. This morning, I heard a baby rooster trying to crow this. Uh-oh. That's how I found out when I bought the. So my birds are Rhode Island Reds and Black Australorps, and that's how I found out I had a rooster. It was one morning I heard this sickly sound, and I went, "Oh, you got to be kidding me!" And I kind of thought I might because he was getting bigger than all the other hens or all the other chicks quickly, and then he started to crow, and as everybody knows who's watched the channel for any length of time, he just became a jerk, so he had to go. He was done. And every time I would walk outside, he would just yell and scream. So it got nerve-wracking with the video and everything else. I don't know when or if I'll do a rooster again, but yeah, they're interesting when they're juveniles and they're first learning how to, yell and scream. Am I looking to expand my property? So I was. I don't know if that's going to happen. There's a lot right next to me that's for sale, but I don't want to offer anywhere near what they're asking for it. So unless I can get that price to come down into a range that I'm comfortable with, probably not. But yeah, I am thinking about looking a little further north for a bigger piece of property. We'll just leave it at that for right now. How's that sound? Because I would like to have much more acreage. I would not get rid of this place, but I'm looking a little further north for something for the next challenge. Let's put it that way. We'll leave it at that for now. They have Newcastle Brown Ale there. They don't have Newcastle Brown Ale here, but I love Newcastle Brown Ale. That is probably my favorite mass-produced beer around. I could drink Newcastle Brown Ale every day. As far as the big breweries go, Newcastle is on draft. It is just incredible. Chicken bath. No, if I'm increasing the flock, I'm doing it solely and strictly for business purposes. So, like I said, if right now they can pay for their feed from say April through October. I have October, November, December, January, February, March, April. I got 7 months of the year that they're not paying for all their feed. And I think with a little bit bigger of a flock, I could generate some more income to get them to carry themselves over for the winter and make them self-sustainable that way. So, yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking at. I work at the tax office and just found your channel. I'll adjust the total for you right now. Nice. Honestly, I couldn't see the property taxes on this piece of land go above, say, maybe $800. I don't think it would go above that. I really don't. And if it would, then I'll sell my property to the people at the tax office. They could buy it from me if it's going to go higher than that because it's worth a lot at that point. Our taxes are really cheap in Alaska. They are very cheap here. John's Touchpad, how you doing, my friend? Awesome to have you here today. Fat Man Prepper, what's happening, brother? Great to see you today. 81 degrees in Phoenix. That's not bad for Arizona, man. That's not bad at all. Gators World, how are you doing, my friend? I'm still watching, but don't comment. Happy things are progressing. It is awesome to see you, my friend. He is Mr. 100. And if you ever see him leave a comment in one of my videos and I say, thanks, Mr. 100, he is my 100th subscriber to my channel from when I first started. Super great guy, Gators World. Go check out his videos. He is awesome. He is awesome. Brother Will, what's happening, bro? Good to see you. I'm coming by today to get showered and cleaned up because I'm looking a bit gamey here today and I got to work again tomorrow. Kevin Wright from Mount Pleasant, Michigan. What's happening, my friend? It's sunny, a beautiful 70. Nice. Very cool. Oh, not Montana. MT for Mike and Terry. Oh, very cool. Mike and Terry Homestead. I like that. Built on the Rock Homestead, grew up in Sacramento, 5th grade teacher, decorated board April showers, bring May flowers. We kids knew it doesn't rain in April, let alone May. We tease the teacher. So in California, where I'm from, whenever the dogwoods bloom, you're going to get one more snow. And the dogwoods bloomed, and I swear it's like clockwork. When those dogwood trees bloom, you get that final snow coming through right afterwards. Gloria, welcome. It is awesome to see you. You guys got some snow, I heard. I don't know if it snowed all the way down at your place, but my daughter sent me some pictures yesterday of snow at her place, and then some friends from up at Twain Harte showed me pictures of 4 inches of snow at their place, which is crazy for May in Sonora. Art, deep South Alabama, what's happening on the road again? Obviously, while I drive. Thank you for listening as always. I'm looking forward to seeing you when you get here, brother. So, how did I find my land for sale? And I've touched on this in the past, but we'll go ahead for the new folks and explain it to them. So, I was looking all over, and I used the what's the multiple listings that the MLS service in Alaska, because it showed everything. And I was looking at the Kenai Peninsula and I was looking for vacant land, but I didn't find anything I really wanted. And it just turned out that Brother Will had this piece of property, and him and his wife were planning on building a house here. And they said, you know what, we're not ever going to build a house there. Why don't you just buy it from us? So I walked the property. It was awesome, absolutely perfect. So I bought it from Brother Will. That's how I found my land. But there's a lot of land to be found up here. A lot of owner finance deals in areas without HOAs, which is to me is a super important thing. I won't live anywhere with an HOA. So if you are interested in finding land in any state, my first suggestion is type in the state's name. So let's say Oklahoma, right? And type in Oklahoma MLS on a Google search, and it'll take you to the multiple listing service page, which is all the listings for all the real estate agencies on one site. And that's a good way to start. Craig Porter, what's happening, man? Good fishing for you yesterday. I saw your pictures on Facebook. Back to Homer for a couple. Can definitely share some cod for some eggs. I've got cod in the freezer, man. I'm good to go. But Craig was fishing for halibut, and one of the fish that you're going to catch, generally speaking, when you're fishing for halibut up here is going to be cod as well. And a lot of people just take them and throw them back in the water. They don't want to keep them, and I love cod. So I keep every cod that I catch. They are just a ton of fun, and they're great eating. And there's not much of a difference in flavor as far as I'm concerned between cod and halibut. They're both a white fish. They both make great fish and chips, and that's what I'm going to eat it as, generally speaking. But that was awesome seeing your pictures yesterday, man. I'm going clamming on Friday, so I will be on the other side of the inlet on Friday clamming. Will, I need to get some more chicken crack. So Will has got these chickens trained to the point where, because he buys all of their treats, so like mealworms or different kinds of, he calls, or containers of what they call chicken crack. So when he shows up, he buys those and keeps them in the house, in the cabin. And so when he shows up, they hear his voice. Every chicken just immediately moves to the fence. They will ignore me all day long, but if they hear Will's voice, they know they're getting a treat. What did I pay for the land? Sorry about all the questions. We expanded our land search. I paid 10 for this. Property out where I'm at generally can be purchased for anywhere between 10 grand to 20 grand, depending on whether or not power is available. It can go as high as 30 or 35. There are some listings right now out here for some crazy prices, which make no sense to me. There's like a 2.5 acre parcel with power on one corner, and they want like 69.5 for it. I'm like, you guys are out of your mind. You're never going to see that out here. It's not in a city, so to get to town from my property is basically a 30+ mile round trip if I'm going to go to town. So you got to want to live out here. And then, like I said, I'm off grid, so off grid properties out here are pretty reasonable. I found that the further you look away from a town when you're looking for property, the cheaper the prices generally get. Unless you're looking for something on a river or something like that that's really a high demand area, that's where I would begin to look. No, I can't sell it back to the tax office. I was making a joke. Canadian, what's happening, brother? Stopping quick by for a short wave. Nice, I appreciate it. Kristen, how are you? I think I said hello to you, but if not, I want to say hi to you again. Free information land next to you is about to be sold. We'll tell you later. Okay, cool. Let me know. Good luck to them. I ain't going to pay that kind of money. I'm not throwing money in the garbage. I'm not doing that. I agree. HOAs are the evil empire. I don't know why, in today's modern world, I don't know why anybody would want to buy in an HOA. I don't understand that at all. And I understand why HOAs were originally set up, but man, they have entirely too much power when it comes to personal property. That's just me spouting my beliefs. Pot roast is fork tender, mashed potatoes are lumpy. Nice, nice. Peas, onions, and butter sauce. Oh man, you're killing me. Jim's got a great point here too. Anybody who's going to buy vacant land in Alaska needs to see it in multiple seasons and needs to personally walk it. Don't just take somebody's word for it. If it says anywhere on the listing, great moose habitat, move on, because moose like swamps, and they're telling you that property is swampy. But yeah, you need to walk it. You need to walk it in the summer, and you need to walk it. The best time would probably be breakup, so that you can see how much squish there is in that land. Ali G, what's happening? Any plans to build a shower or bathroom area? So I have a bathroom in the cabin, but I've never finished it, obviously, because I don't have any water or anything yet. I'm going to probably put an outdoor shower on this year, and put an indoor on-demand water heater, propane water heater. So I will have the shower capability here at the property. For bathroom right now, I don't have a septic system in, and that's not on the agenda for a while. So I'll probably just keep using the outhouse for the time being. I don't mind using an outhouse. It's not a big deal. Ward, what's happening, brother? Good to see you. Enigmatic Gwitchin, what's happening? It takes me forever to say your name sometimes. Trudy, welcome. Glad you can make it today. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Sometimes I put out a decent video, right? Speaking of decent videos, these guys have a new one. Welcome, guys. Great to see you. You did make it for the last live. They just built the deck for their tent that they're going to be living on while they're building their cabin on their property. If you guys aren't checking out Alaskan Freedom, you need to check them out. They're awesome, awesome folks. Steve G, am I still considering an insulated coop with a little diesel heater? No. Insulated, yes, probably. I would probably go with an insulated coop, but I won't heat the coop and I won't provide artificial light. So my thought process, and not nothing against Eric and Ariel for doing what they did at Simple Living Alaska. They are in a drastically colder area than I am. I mean, they're in a, if you're not careful and you're outside too long and you're not prepared for it, it could kill you area. And I'm not in an area that, yeah, we get to 25, 30 below zero. They can see 60 below zero where they're at, Fahrenheit, which is just crazy. So for me, my thought process is that every chicken is born with the maximum amount of eggs they're ever going to lay. So if I don't provide the artificial light and I don't provide the artificial heat, they will not lay through the winter, but they will lay longer. So the egg production should drop down at a slower pace than they would if I gave them everything they needed to lay eggs massively year round. So that's my thought process on it. That it's a lot more expensive to do it that way. Trudy, happy for the weather's looking good. Looking forward to seeing what you're doing. Thank you very much. Yeah. HOA, FDA, FBI, ATF, WAF, who, et cetera, et cetera. Those were all three-letter words, right? Sean and everybody got to go get back at it. Frank, thanks for popping in. Greatly appreciate having you here, my friend. Oh, there we go. I'm caught up. That was cool. Today it only took me like 38 minutes to get caught up. I'm outside. When I'm inside, I can type on the keyboard. But I'm terrible at typing on my laptop keyboard. And I know the keys are in the same place, but my hands just don't work at this angle like they do at this angle. So yeah, yeah. From everything I've read, there's a lot of stuff that I read about chickens, and that's why this has been so fun for me, and such an experience for me. So there's a lot of things I had studied about and read about on building houses that did not actually pertain to a house that you build in Alaska. Okay, because it's just such a different climate and such a different area. And one of the things that I read about chickens was that when you get chicks, you need to keep the temperature way up high while they're in the chick stage, or it could kill. My chickens were lucky to see 80 degrees, and they wanted, and everything I read said it should be 90 to 95 degrees to keep the chickens warm. And I never had a heat lamp. I had the buddy heater on the kitchen table in the trailer, and then a plastic tote on the other end of the table. And I never saw the chickens piling up to keep themselves warm. I never had that issue at all with them. So it's a lot of I guess where I was going with this was everything that I'm doing is completely new to me. So even though there's a lot of information out there for anybody who might consider doing something like this too, you'll find that a lot of that information is not 100% correct, especially if when it comes to specific areas that you're at. Now, I couldn't imagine you wanting to keep chickens heated if you're in Texas and the temperature's 100 and something degrees, right? You just put them in your garage. So, everything's going to be regionally specific. Matt says, I saw some okayish priced land parcels up where Eric and Ariel live, but then you have to live there, and it's hours from anything. I spent enough time in town already in the past. Yeah, so where they're at, without being specific, is a good drive to get to any major city to get anything. And that's why when you're watching their videos, you'll see them say, they're going to Fairbanks to pick stuff up, because Fairbanks is the closest big city to them. Excuse me, where their old property, if they were going to a big city, they were going to Anchorage. So they are in a pretty remote area of Alaska, but it's still served by the road system. So they can still drive to town if they need to. But if you're going to live in an area like that, so for me, like I said, I work in town in a grocery store, and I'm there 5 days a week. So I pick something up every day when I'm in town. If I forget something, it's not a big deal for me to drive to town and back. And if you're going to live in an area like they're living, it's an adventure. It's an all-day project to go to town and go back. You've just lost an entire day of any productivity. Yeah, but by the time I got there, Joseph, man, there'd be nothing. It would be next week. Not only that, but I let my passport expire. I need to renew that. If you weren't aware, you can't drive from Alaska to the United States unless you have a passport, because we have to go through Canada to get there. And I let mine expire. You can fly anywhere, obviously, right, without passports, but you can't drive there, not from here. Oh, you did? Just got off. Man, Ward, you're working way too much, brother. I don't heat or light our coop either. We're in a cold area, but we just let them adjust to the climate. They do fine for us. Yeah, and that's another point too, is if you start to provide heat for the chickens, as you're going into winter, you're going to have to heat that coop all winter long. You have no choice at that point. You have to, because it's too much of a drastic drop to go from, let's use Eric and Ariel, for example, where it's 40 below zero in winter, to go from, say, 30 degrees in the coop or 20 degrees in the coop to 40 degrees below zero in the coop, you'll end up with a bunch of dead chickens. You don't want to play that game. They're so fun. If you have the property and you've ever considered doing it, I would suggest you do it, because not only are the eggs better than anything you can buy, I mean, they are absolutely delicious. But these things are characters. And I could sit out here sometimes and I'll be taking a break while I'm working, and I'll just watch these stupid chickens beat each other up, give each other crap. It's just so fun. They're so funny. They have such personalities. Yeah, that pesky neighbor to the south of me, Canada. I agree, right? We just pick up all of Western Canada and then we're set. It drives me insane that you should have to have a passport, that you should be Canadian and have to have a passport to get into America, or that you should be American and have to have a passport to get into Canada, because we are so much alike. We are, as far as people go, we're the same people. We just have different governments, but that just drives me nuts. I think that's ridiculous. Not so remote Alaska, welcome. It is awesome to see you, my friend. How are you doing today? Oh, I tell you what, the best part about this entire thing is that doing these lives outside, it's like just kick back on my property and I can watch the trees sway in the breeze behind me, and I can look over at the future garden. I'll probably do a pop-up live from the garden once I get everything situated in there this year. But yeah, I love it, man. It is awesome. This is fantastic. Yep, exactly right. I love watching my chickens. Only problem is it does eat up the time. A second here. There we go. One of the crazy things too is that I like I said earlier, I'm gonna turn 62 here next week. I was not in the greatest of health when I first moved back to Alaska. I mean, I lost a lot of weight, but I was not physically ready for the journey that I was about to take up here. And this journey has gotten me so much healthier. It's crazy. But every winter, if you're not outside doing a lot, when spring hits, your body has to get used to what you're doing again. And it's been trying for me the last couple of weeks. I have to. Somebody had made a comment saying, "Man, how could you just keep going like that? That is crazy. That I can work and work and work and work because I work a full time job too." And my response to them was, "I take many breaks. I take many breaks." And what you see on the camera, remember, has been edited for time. So if you're curious how long it's actually taking me to do something, notice A, did he change his clothes? Because that means it's probably the next day. And B, where is the sun from this frame to that frame? Because what should be taking me, say, an hour and a half or 2 hours to do, often takes me 6 or 7 hours to get done. Yeah, right. The Canadians have no sense of humor at the border. The Canadians, when you cross that border, it's yes, sir, no, sir, and do everything right. Do everything right because they are wonderful people unless you get them mad. Oh, thank you very much. I greatly appreciate that. Right? Outside. I love it. Sean, you said it online, so now we have to hold you to it. Pop up live stream from the garden. It'll happen. I'll do it. I'll do it. It'll be probably from the self. Well, I don't know. I might be able to. Now that I have this stupid OPS 1800 watt uh, power station, I can just drag that in the garden with me. See you, Ward. Have a great day, man. I do, right? I mean, and that's in the long run. Another comment that I get quite often is, "Man, it should take you a lot less time to do that." And I think that a lot of people didn't realize in the beginning that I had no experience doing what I was doing. I got answers from guys like Ward, my neighbor Todd across the street, other people that I know that are in the building industry up here. But I've never done anything like this before in my life, and I went from having all the bells and whistles and all the toys um, in California in a 5 bedroom house to living in a trailer off grid in Alaska on raw land. So what would normally take somebody who's experienced no time at all to do something, just add 10 times that amount of time to me until I learn how to do it. And once I learn how to do it, the next time I do it, I'm much better. I learn very easily from seeing, from reading, but probably the most from doing, because once I do something, the muscle memory gets in, and it comes right back in no time at all. You got plenty of time, man. I got up here when I was how old was I when I got up here? 51? I think I was 51 when I moved up here originally. I was the same age as Dick Prenicky when I moved up here, 51 years old. And it took a while to find the land, and then it took a while to get on here, and then I had to save up the money to buy it all because all the lumber was paid for cash. I don't have any debt on the property, which was all intentional. I didn't want any debt when I got to retirement age. I didn't want to have any bills at all, which was another reason for wanting to go off grid. I didn't want to have a monthly power bill. I will have a propane bill, but that's very achievable, very easy. Fat man. I love me some fried chicken too, brother. Love me some fried chicken as well. No, actually, Henry, this live is just from the yard. This is from where the trailer was parked right there. So I'm sitting out in front of where the trailer used to be. So this is just all, I'll pick the camera up again. Again. So this is, get back up here. This is all the tree work I've been doing the last couple of days. Right? And then these are future fence posts for the garden. I was peeling logs yesterday. So yeah, there's the outhouse. There's the chicken coop. There's the campfire right there. There's the plywood that was on top of the trailer. There's the garden right over where the garden's going to be is right over there. So now I'm doing this from outside. I haven't done a live from the porch at all, I don't think. All right, where'd I lose you at? Turn my, hang on. Get my mouse to work here. There it is. Again, I'm using the mouse because I'm not that schooled on using the keyboard on a laptop. Mower is operational. He's now off to mow the friend's yard. Operational and fixed are completely different. Yeah, I don't believe that honestly there's any age that would preclude you from doing anything that you really want to do. I honestly believe that it doesn't matter if you start. I wish I would have started at 18, obviously, um, but wasn't in the cards for me until I got older. And I am not sorry that I started when I did. You could either make this whole project something like this. One of my favorite sayings is you could either say I'm going to do that one day, or this is day one. And that's, I got to the point where one day didn't work anymore. It just became day one for me. I'll be 21 almost three times. Well, almost for the third time. Next year I'll be 21 for the third time. Just start your own mini tracking operation on your property and avoid the propane bill. Nice, nice, right? I've The propane is going to be for the stove. I need the propane for the stove and for the on-demand water heater, which are two items that honestly will not burn that much propane in a year. So I'm not. I will probably put in a backup um, vented propane heater to replace the buddy heaters. Just because, like I said, I work all day long. I leave the house, generally speaking, at around 3 in the morning, and I'm not back until about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So I'm gone for about 10 hours a day, and then a backup heater would stop the house from dropping to below, say, 55 degrees Fahrenheit in the winter. So it would just keep it warm if the fire died down too much. Sean, Alaska, three top places to visit if you visit Alaska for a month. Um, the Kenai Peninsula, for one, because down here you'll see Homer, which is absolutely gorgeous, and Seward, and then you can see the Kenai River. This is Alaska's playground. This is where Alaskans come to play. Um, I would say Fairbanks and the surrounding area to get a taste of the interior, depending on what time of the year you come out. But you can see Chena Hot Springs. It's gorgeous. You can get days that will blow your mind. Last night I went to bed at 10:30 at night, and the sun was just starting to set. And I woke up this morning at 4:45, and the sun was just starting to come up. So in Fairbanks, the sun was probably up at about 3 o'clock this morning, and it probably went down at around 11:30 last night. So you'll get close to 24 hours of daylight up there. And then, of course, Denali, right? I'd say stay away from Anchorage, but the Denali, Talkeetna area, Talkeetna is a neat little town. You'll see some neat stuff up there, and you'll see the mountain. You'll see a lot of wildlife. So if you go to Denali Park and you take one of the bus tours, you'll see bears. You'll see all kinds of stuff there. I would say that those are the three places I would definitely tell anybody who's going to come here to see. Because in the process of traveling, if you fly into Anchorage and you travel down to the Kenai Peninsula, you get to see the whole Cook Inlet. It is absolutely gorgeous. If you're traveling up to Denali, you get to, and then from there up to Fairbanks, you get to see so much of the interior. It's gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous. Right? That's one of my favorite things in the world. That, and when this whole intro started, when I started all the intros at the beginning, I forgot that I used to put a quote at the beginning of every one of my videos when I first started, and a lot of those were for me too, not just for viewers, but for Sean to kind of stay motivated. But I'll never forget where I saw that. It's either one day or day one, and I'm like, man, I love that. I absolutely love that. Yeah, I'm not doing a city again. Never gonna happen. Right? Day one. Start my own fracking operation. I don't know, man. Will probably could tell me too. I bet you I could drill right here and I'd find natural gas. There is so much stuff in Alaska. There are so many minerals and resources in Alaska. It's crazy. Dumb joke ruined by so many things have been ruined by spell check. Relationships. The difference between a dream and a goal is setting a date, right? Exactly. It is. And just saying one day I'm done. I'm doing this. I am doing this. Other than Chena or doing the Brinkley's tourist traps, Fairbanks is kind of boring in your opinion. So, but it's Alaska. So when I lived in Fairbanks during the summer, we'd go to races all the time. We'd go to concerts all the time because they have all kinds of outdoor concerts up there. Um, we'd hang out on the river all the time. So yeah, they are tourist traps, but everywhere's got a lot of tourist traps, and everywhere is boring unless you put an itinerary together. I would say that you'd probably spend no more than 2 days in Fairbanks. That you'd probably not spend any more than 2 days in Denali in the park, but that you could spend a week on the Kenai Peninsula and not do everything you would want to do in a week on the Kenai Peninsula. So it's just a what you want to see and how you want to break up your travel time. Yeah, the museum in Anchorage is a good visit. The zoo's pretty cool too. I remember years ago when I was married, my ex-wife and I brought came up here and brought our daughter up here, um, and took her to the zoo in Anchorage, Alaska, and it was crazy because you're walking around an outdoor zoo. It was winter in Alaska. It wasn't really winter; it was kind of spring, but it was still snow everywhere. Nice. Give yourself time if you're coming to the Kenai Peninsula because there's so much to do. And Seward, to me, there's a lot of fishing trips that go out of Seward, but it takes a long time to get from the port in Seward to the where you're going to fish, and that is just wasted fishing time as far as I'm concerned. Whereas in Homer, you are on fish within 45 minutes. You are fishing within 45 minutes from the time you leave the harbor. In Seward, you could be on the boat for 2 hours before you're dropping lines. So that's frustrating to me. But they have some great tours over there, so you can do the Seven Glacier tour, which I like to do every couple of years, no matter what. Anyway, you can see whales, you can see all kinds of stuff over there that you're probably not going to see in Homer. But in Homer, you can do, and you can do it in Seward too. They have kayak tours, so you can go, which to me is just because operating a kayak is a lot easier than most people think. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff you can do on the Kenai Peninsula. Like I said, not only do tourists from all over the world come here to fish for some of the greatest fishing in the world, but Alaskans come here to vacation as well because it's so beautiful down here. Yeah, my youngest daughter's coming up in August. She's timed it around the state fair with my granddaughter. So I'm taking a week's vacation when she comes in, picking her up at the airport. We're going to the state fair. We're going to do that little route. I'll bring her down and show her some of the stuff down here, and then she'll stay down here until the end of the week, and then I'll take her back to Anchorage. But yeah, the state fair in Alaska, it's not something I would go to every year, but it's somewhere where I would take somebody who came up every year. You want to talk about produce? You want to see? You've heard the stories about how big things get in Alaska. Go to the state fair and you'll be able to see produce the likes of which 5 pound plus carrots. I mean, just stuff that'll blow your mind, right? You can ride the Alaska Railroad up here. It's a bit pricey uh, as far as I'm concerned, but if you really don't care about that, if you don't mind spending a little bit of money, I mean, everything's expensive when you travel. The views are just phenomenal. It is absolutely gorgeous. Will's quote: "Fly low and take chances." CK, welcome. Glad you could be here today. I'm late to this live. Have a great summer and stay safe. Thank you. I greatly appreciate that. CK, I think you asked me the question about a chainsaw, and I hope I replied to you. But if I didn't, and if it wasn't you, then hopefully the person who asked it will see this. About their husband was looking to get a chainsaw, and what size was my steel? And when everywhere I looked on it, I can't see, and it's all worn off. And I didn't buy that still. I bought it from a neighbor who was a tree faller. So I would have to contact him, and I don't know how to get in touch with him anymore. But it's a 20-inch bar on that. So it's whatever Still's 20-inch standard bar is on a chainsaw. That's the one it is. Denali sounds awesome. Seen Homer in the Deadliest Catch show. If you haven't seen Homer in person, what you see on TV of Alaska is not really Alaska. It's not. It's glorified for television. I haven't seen. I guess the only real reality show for Alaska that I've ever seen is the show The Last Alaskans, where that is as real as it gets. And then there's a couple. There's the guy. I forget his name right now. I think I've talked about this before too. That traps and has a yellow plane, and he's on Mountain Men, or he was. I don't know if he still is anymore. I actually knew him when I lived in the interior. And that was really his life. He really did that. So, yeah, but most of the stuff you see on reality shows in Alaska is not really Alaska. Uh, it's first of all, it's bigger and it's more beautiful than you would ever expect. Is there still land that's good land in Alaska? There is. There's more land up here than we'll ever fill up. It is crazy. It is crazy how much beautiful land there is up here. But I will warn you in advance if you think you might want to live in Alaska. One of two things happen to anybody I think who moves here. And for you fellow Alaskans that are in a live chat, correct me if I'm wrong. You either absolutely love this state and can never get it out of your system again. Even if you leave, all you think about is getting back, or you hate this place and want to get out as fast as you can. I do not think there's a middle ground. From folks I have talked to that have lived here and folks that I've talked to who don't even want to come back and vacation here, that seems to be the common thread. Either, like for me, when I moved here, all I could think about when I left was how long it would take me to get back. And then for other people that get here, all they can think about is how long it's going to take them to get out. So I don't think there's a mid ground living up here, but there is land everywhere up here to be had. Yeah, the Kenai Fjord tours, or yeah, Kenai Fjord tours out of Seward. It's not that pricey when you think about the fact that you're going to be on it all day, and especially if you're going to go on the full trip where you're getting the food too. I think they have like the prime rib or salmon, which is usually what I if like when my daughter came up, that's what I took her on. And then when her and I came up here the first time in 2011 before I moved up just to see the peninsula, that was we went on that one. I thought that it was very reasonable, for a tour. But I came from California, so depending on where you come from, the prices could be a lot different. I filled up my truck with gas yesterday or Friday, and it was $4.29 a gallon right now. So during the summer, gas prices go up. That was a bit pricey, but compared to where you're at, it's more expensive than that in California. Uh, you know, Produce is more expensive here, but everything else is pretty much the same price. The kayak tours were a blast, and I got to do them again. I got to do them again. Not at all. If you guys have a question and I can give you an answer or even my opinion on it, I'm more than happy to do so. You've been here for almost 7 years. Go to the state fair. Give yourself an excuse. Brother Will's excuse to go to the state fair, and he gets me usually every couple of years. He'll get me on it. Is he'll see a band that is playing there, and he'll go, "Hey, so and so's playing." And the last time I went, Lindsay Sterling, she's the gal that plays the violin. Um, was at the state fair. We went and saw Lindsay Sterling and did the whole state fair. So tie in a concert with it, man. It gives you an excuse to go. The state fair is fun to go at least one time if you live in Alaska, and it's fun to take people to if they're visiting you. But you're not going to go every year. Carnivals and fairs are all the same no matter where you go. All right, brother Will. I'll see you when you swing by. Oh, awesome! It was you. Very cool. Very cool. I wanted to make sure I did answer you. I thought that was you, CK. Fat man, I flew low and crashed in Phoenix. Marty, that's who it was. It was Marty who flew the plane. Yeah, the yellow plane. Marty was exactly what you saw on the show. That was his actual real personality. That was Marty. Because I lived at Chena Hot Springs Road in a community of Two Rivers, and that's where he lived. And so we used to show up at the Two Rivers Lodge. I pretty much lived in that place after work every day. I'd stop off and get a couple of pints before I'd go home. Being there on the weekends, doing dinners and stuff like that there. And Marty would come in all the time, and sometimes he'd come in with his family. Just a great guy, just a nice guy. Yeah, right. Same thing. Don't think there's a middle ground either. Love Northern Exposure. Love Northern Exposure. It's on Amazon Prime right now. It's on Amazon right now, and I have Amazon Prime, so I watch an episode a week. I love that show. I love it. Right? Alaska Freedom. Agree. No middle ground. Matt AK, I think about Alaska literally every day and have since the last summer. I worked full time up there in 2012. I'm telling you, right? It's crazy. The drive from Seward or the drive to Seward from Anchorage is amazing. It's phenomenal. Um, if you come up here as a couple or with a significant other with your family, just remember that if you drive to any place, they have to drive back because they're going to see so much more on the way there than you will. And then you want to get that view when you come back. Yeah, I used to watch that Mountain Man show when I lived in California. I don't watch regular television now. I stream some shows, and somebody will say there's a really great show, and I'll go find it and stream it, or I'll download it and I'll watch it at my convenience. But during the summer, I don't generally watch much TV at all. I do listen to a lot of radio, and I listen to not even radio anymore. I listen to Pandora. I have a channel that I listen to on there that I kind of set up myself, and then I listen to Arna G, which is Radio na Gaeltacht out of the Irish regions of Ireland, which is all in Gaelic, Irish. And other than that, I'm just pretty much go 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 on audiobooks. Reindeer sausage, biggest gimmick in the world. There's almost no reindeer in that reindeer sausage. It's mostly pork. We're getting down to the end, guys. It looks like I have answered just about everybody else. Marty was fun. He gave up on the show. He probably did. Marty was a real guy. He was a neat guy. When I first got here, it was so funny because Will says, "Oh, now that you're here, you have to go down and see the Kilchers in Homer." So he drove me down there, and I'll never forget that I saw one episode, and they dramatize everything, right? For reality shows, they really do. Um, and I've had a couple of offers to be on them, and I'm like, yeah, that's not going to work for me, man. It's not going to work. And don't get me wrong, they're fun to watch, but I'll never forget watching an episode of the Kilchers, and they said if they can't catch all of the food or all of the fish that they need, then it'll be tough to eat this winter to make it through the season. They literally live closer to a Safeway grocery store than I do. I live further away from a store than they do. So they really dramatize that stuff up. They really get a little crazy with it. Well, thanks, CK. I greatly appreciate that. There are some good channels. There's some great people in here that have Alaska channels. That most of us we don't play the drama game. We don't. Simple Living Alaska doesn't play the drama game. They show you everything they're doing. But they're to the point now where I think they're, and I guess the best analogy would be like microbreweries, right? Because that's what I use for everything. And I remember when Sierra Nevada Brewing Company came out with Sierra Nevada beer, and they were a local brewery in Chico, California, and now they're like the Anheuser Busch. They're huge. So they're different than they ever were before. Where now I'm back at the Kenai River Brewing Company, and they're a micro beer. They're a local beer, and I think Simple Living Alaska is they're just huge, and they can do a lot more stuff than most of us can. But that's their business too. That's what they do for a living. Um, I don't. I work full time and I do this. But it's funny though when you watch, like I'll put out a video one week and the next week they'll put out a video and it'll be on kind of the same thing. And Not So Remote Alaska will put out a video, and Bill at My Alaska will put out a video, or Curmudgeon will put out a video, and they're all kind of on the same thing because we're all in Alaska and it's that time of year for us to be doing that thing. So I think most of the Alaska channels that I've watched are very on YouTube are very real Alaska, and some go way off the deep end, and they're really remote and living crazy and doing crazy stuff, and then some are living pretty modern too. So it shows you the whole board of what actually happens up here. Excuse me. Have a great day, man. Great to see you. And thank you very much. I appreciate that. Von Lowe, how are you doing today? Think you nearly missed me from the UK? You didn't. I'm almost gone though. You almost missed me. I appreciate that, Ginger. I greatly do. I appreciate every comment, every thumbs up that I get on every watch and every subscriber that I get on YouTube. To me, it's the neatest thing in the world. I was really excited the first time I ever got a thumbs down and a negative comment. I don't have a problem with that. Different strokes for different folks, right? I mean, I can't imagine that I would be entertaining to everybody in the world. So I'm glad to see when people just tell me, yeah, you're not my thing, man. I'm not interested. But I love it too when people say they love to watch it. Big family expedition. Thank you. I definitely will. There's always an adventure here. It is crazy. There's always an adventure. Yeah, the drama drives me insane. So I got reached out to by Life Below Zero. And they're an Alaskan show, and I went all the way to a phone interview with the producers of the show, and she said, "Well, okay, do you live a subsistence lifestyle?" And I go, "No, I shop at the grocery store every day." She goes, "What?" I go, "I love to fish," and I go, "I eat what I catch." She goes, "But it's not. You don't actually have to do this to." I go, "No, most Alaskans, and that using that analogy, meaning the greater portion of the population of Alaska lives in the cities, and they don't live in the bush. And most of us don't need to do that. Well, would you be interested in maybe going down that path? And I go, no, I work full time. I can't afford to do that and do this. It was fun. It was neat though. It was a neat, and they were super nice people. It was a great process. And then another group just reached out to me again not long ago, and I said, I'm not interested in that. I got reached out to one time too by they were going to do like a matchmaker thing for off grid in Alaska and stuff like that. And I said, I don't have anybody that I used to date or used to be married to that would be interested in this lifestyle. I go, but if you find somebody from the city that wants to try it, I'm in. Just hook me up. So I don't know. There's too much drama involved in a lot of that, and I know they do it because it sells, but I'm not into that. That's not my lifestyle. It is. It is. Todd pointed out, I think it was last week's video and during last week's live, Todd pointed out that when I was putting that sawbuck together, he saw me take a freaking log to the temple. And I had actually stopped recording at that point because I couldn't stand up. It almost knocked me out. I was kicking, I had the log screwed together, and I was kicking the log to get the scissor to open up, and I kicked the wrong log and it hit me in the head. And I was like, oh. But yeah, I mean, I show everything I do wrong on here. Texas Butterfly, how are you doing? Love watching you. Always something new, and keep cutting down those trees. And just for the record, anybody who's watching this later, thanks for watching the replay. I greatly appreciate that. And I should say that in the beginning, and I never do. But all the trees that I'm cutting down, except for a very small few, are dead or dying trees. So I'm not just out here cutting down every tree on the property. I didn't buy a forested piece of land in Alaska to not have trees. But I am doing maintenance that needs to be done to keep this forest healthy to the best of my ability. I'm not an arborer, but I know that a dead tree is not something that I need, and I don't need trees every foot away from each other because it's not healthy for the rest of them. So greatly appreciate that. There are some channels that are hard to relate to, but again, it's all in what you're interested in. I mean, probably my three favorite channels to watch at this point are, that I have watched religiously forever, would be Simple Living Alaska. Because I've watched them since they first started, and I've in messaging back and forth to each other and leaving comments, they've been nothing but kind to me, and they're neat people. So them, my self-reliance with Sean James, because he can go overboard sometimes on what he does, but he's like living the dream that I would want to live. Log cabin. I've always wanted to build a log cabin. Maybe we'll see. And the other one, and I always do, I always space the name of his channel. And his name's Graham, and it's Woodness Goodness. There we go. I got it. And he's just a character. And he's a younger guy. Everybody's young to me. But I love watching him because he's like me. When he makes a mistake, he just, I blew it. I screwed up. The gods of YouTube told me what I did wrong. I'm going to fix it now. Nice. Walking a glacier in September. Very cool. I had to slow down and watching Alaska channels because it makes me feel like I'm copying someone else. But just like I said, right, Mike? I mean, it's Alaska. It's that time of year. We're all doing the same thing, right? I mean, when the salmon are in, we're all fishing. We're all showing fishing videos. We're all showing cooking videos of fish because that's what we're doing. I got that way a couple of times too, and I got to the point where I'm like, look, I can only do what I do. If it just so happens that 5 other people are doing it, okay, I'll go probably watch them too. The insulation under the floor is doing fantastic. I had one bat that fell. It's probably going to be non-usable because it did fall down in the water and the mud. I'll take a look at it when things dry out a little bit more, but I want to close that in so it can't fall anymore. That cabin floor was so warm. I was running around in socks all winter long. It was fantastic. Henry Leslie, thanks, my friend. Have a great day. Glad you could pop in today. Okay, so for Pandora, what I listen to on there is not the Irish music. You can type in Irish music on Pandora and you'll find a million channels. So on Pandora, I listen to a channel that it's called Blackwater Railroad Company, and they're from Alaska, and I love their music. The best way I can describe it is what I call newgrass. So it's kind of a modern bluegrass channel. because that is one of my favorite musics of all time. I stream RNG. So if you type in RNAG on Google on your phone, it'll pop up and you'll see Radio in the Gaeltacht. And a lot of that is they do different music different nights of the week. A lot of that is music, but it'll also be talk. It's all in Irish. So two different things completely because you'll just be streaming that radio station from Ireland. I agree. There's enough drama in everybody's life. I don't need to see somebody else's. Yeah, it it's really opening it up. It's giving me more ideas too. Every time I cut something down and I'm in an area of the property, I walked. Todd came over, my neighbor Todd, and he's the one that helped me a lot with the roof. And Todd's the big guy with the beard. He's bigger than I am. Uh, but he came over the other day and he just got back from California. He was down there visiting family. And he goes down once a year to see his mom and see his kids or see his daughter. And him and I got to talking about property corners. And the next thing you knew, we walked all the way back to the back of my property. And I looked and I go, I got some more ideas. I went, oh my gosh, I could do a lot back here. So yeah, I have 1.5 acres. Well, 1.4 acres. That's a lot of land for one person. That's a lot of land. Graham is a decent singer for an off-gridder. No, he's not off-grid. Graham isn't. From Woodness Goodness. I mean, his cabin, I guess, will be off-grid, the one he's building now. But he's just a character. He builds all kinds of stuff. He built a bar out of a horse trailer. He's just nuts. He's fearless. He does anything. Yeah, I heard someone say don't base moving to Alaska on watching some boutique YouTube channels, and don't base moving to Alaska on watching anything you see on Discovery or anything like that, the Alaskan TV shows, because they're not. Deadliest catch. That's pretty accurate. When they're out there in those waters, that's pretty crazy. That is one of the deadliest jobs you can do. That's one of the. I think that might be the most dangerous job that you can do in the United States. Is that job? But most people don't do that job. And most of those people aren't from Alaska. Most of them live in Washington. They just come up for the season. Melinda Campbell, glad you could pop in. Great to see you. You're just here to see me in the kilt? Okay, here. Okay, we're going to have to. Sean in the kilt. I have to buy another kilt though because this one's pretty much seen better days. It's about done. I find the self-made music from Matt and his buddy use on his Alaska Cabin Adventures to be real good. Oh, that is cool. Yeah, Alaskan Cabin Adventures I like that channel too. But again, I'm pretty limited as to what I watch on a regular basis. So I'm watching Alaska Freedom now because we got together, we had lunch, we had met before, and they're kind of doing the same thing I'm doing, and I just think it's neat. For me, it's fun because they're going through the steps that I went through, and I can't tell you enough how much faster and easier this would have been to have a helping hand. He's got a partner. They're partners together. Those two, they're gonna make things happen quick, and things happen a lot faster when there's more hands. But more importantly than that, it's you have somebody to share it with every day. I there's a lot of times where, and I'm a pretty upbeat guy, where I had to make myself upbeat because I would get frustrated with myself. So yeah, if you've got a partner to do this with, do it with the partner. Do a pirouette. Oh, you've got mosquitoes buzzing you? Well, my friend, let me introduce you to the greatest Alaskan product, Maxi Deet. Yeah, I haven't had issues with mosquitoes that much since I dug the deed out. Well, guys, that's about it. So it's 1:14. We kind of went over by about 15 or 20 minutes. I'll go for another 5 minutes or so here. If you've got any comments or questions that you want to pop in that you need me to answer, by all means, jump in now and let me know. If not, then we'll just move right on. I'll probably end this by playing the this year's intro to the lives again one last time. But yeah, if you've got any comments or questions, jump in now. Right? There they are right there, Alaskan Freedom. Nothing seems fast enough, right? But the snow has melted drastically, has it not? I don't have any snow left on my property at all. It is 100% gone. Well, there's a little bit on the north side of the cabin that slid off the roof. That is pretty much it. So once it starts to go, it is over. Brenda, thank you very much. Like I said, I will pop in now. Somebody's gonna hold me to it. I will do a pop-up live from the garden once I get everything growing in there this year. So yeah, you can expect that. I'll let you guys know like a week in advance when I'm going to do it, so everybody can be ready for it. Other than that, we'll have videos out every Friday. I might miss one or two, but I only miss like one or two a year, it seems like. And then I'll try and post more on the community tab to keep you guys updated with what's happening. But I'm looking forward to a very busy and very fun year in Alaska. Again, every year in Alaska is fun, but it seems like the more that I do, the more fun I have. I love the heck out of it. Lisa, always happy to see you as well. Mary, awesome to see you. Great to have you here today. Grass is mowed. Not much, man. We're getting ready to head out the door right now. Am I going to put anything on the outside of the cabin this year? Yes. I have a plan for at least the lower half of the cabin for this year. So yeah, I will get something on there. And I might get the whole thing done. It all depends on whether or not I can locate what I want to do for the upper part at a reasonable cost. Because like I said, I'm doing everything pretty much cash. I don't want to go into debt doing this. So I want to, and I lived in a trailer for how many years in Alaska? I can take my time with the cabin. Lunch break's over. They're going back to work. Great to see you, man. Awesome to have you here. Right, you have snow patches left in the shady spots. Tyvek is Alaskan sighting. All right, guys, with that said, I'm going to pop out of here. I am Sean in Alaska. Thank you always for your constant support, for joining me in these lives, for speaking out, for giving me ideas and giving me advice, because I greatly accept any advice I can get from somebody who knows how to do things a whole lot better than I do. I greatly appreciate that. And we'll see you guys again every Friday at noon with a video, maybe a couple of bonus videos in there this summer if I can get some extra stuff done, like I'm looking forward to doing. And then we'll see you again in October on the lives. Thank you guys very much. As always, have a great week. I'm Sean in Alaska. We'll talk to you later.